In this video, I will talk about one of the common occurrences among young women. Divorce. How to live after divorce. Divorce is a very intense emotional dumping process. Divorce is about blaming each other, but remember, you are both to blame. And don't put the blame on others, you're both to blame. And your children will pay for it. In general, divorce is not decided in the heat of the moment. The decision to divorce should be made when the emotions are gone. But young people often fail to do that. In haste, you decide to divorce, finally spoil relations with each other, involve relatives, acquaintances, and everyone you can. Everyone's on their own turf, so to speak. And it's mutual recriminations. Stop the recriminations. All right. Now you've decided to get a divorce. And remember, the first rule of divorce is that you've accepted responsibility. For who? For yourself and for the children who are left with you, maybe even for your parents. What is responsibility? It's the realization that you are the main person who will now organize the lives of the children, the parents, and your own life. Are you ready for that? After the divorce, when you first fought with each other positionally, after the divorce, both your husband and you will have a state of apathy, a state of desolation, and this will be further intensified by the fact that suddenly those who were in favor of you will also begin to judge you. Condemnation will come to you from your family. It is your brothers, sisters, your parents, relatives. Condemnation will also come at work. Condemnation will come even to those who just know you, and it will all act on the negative side of your condition. It is necessary to have courage to bear it all. This negative state can turn into prolonged stress. And prolonged stress is famous for the fact that it decreases the abilities of your own body. You will start to get sick, and your negative stress will affect those for whom you have taken responsibility, your children, your parents. So please, please control your condition. Remember, you went for it. If even unconsciously, now you have realized and are taking responsibility for yourself. Do not stumble on the place. From these negative emotions, now that you understand your condition, turn on your brain. Sit down and think about the following things. First, what kind of income can you have? You must have a steady job in order to support your children, yourself, and your parents. And besides, remember, now you are making a decision. The fate of your children and possibly your parents will depend on what you decide. What should you do? You must. In addition to having a stable income-generating activity, you must also remember the following. You have free time. How should you use this free time? The first thing you should do is invest in yourself. Remember, you will probably change your specialty 5 or 6 times during your life, and what you are doing now can be taken away from you very quickly by artificial intelligence. So you have to be prepared to have a new specialty to start with. The second thing, you must now make new connections. What are these? New connections are categorized into several types. Connections, useful and necessary. These are connections with a doctor, connections with a lawyer, connections with those people who will help you find a job, or something like that. These are useful connections. You are not obliged to get into their souls, but you are obliged to show them attention. What does it mean, congratulate on holidays just to remind about themselves? So call, wish them good mood, that is periodically just to remind about themselves. For what? In order for them to remember you, and when you turn to them with a real request so that they do not reject you. The second kind of connection is a connection that will be useful to you, but at the same time, you can use their experience. You have a life situation that you are not able to solve yourself, so you should turn to those who can help you or have already been in this situation and will tell you how they got out of this situation. The most interesting thing is that these so-called teachers will be of different ages. Sometimes your teacher can be really a person older than you who has already passed this way, and he will tell you what direction is better to go. A peer of your age and now in the 21st century can give you a hint. A young man or a young girl who is below you in age, that is younger, will also give you a hint. They see the situation better and they can tell you what you should do, in what direction you should go. But to make such connections, you must be interesting for others. What does it mean to be interesting to others? To be interesting for others means to have a high vitality, which will immediately reflect on your face, which will immediately be reflected in your gait, your demeanor, and very carefully watch your clothes and appearance. You are still a young woman, so remember that you have to find a new partner, but look not as a predator, who there were to get free and attract his attention with your new dignity. And the new dignity is self-confidence. It is a constant economic activity. It is a constant development. It will all be reflected on your face, on your behavior, and even on your diction and the way of constructing sentences. I've told you. Mostly about the fact that after divorce, you will have negative feelings and you will have a negative state of mind. But there are positives to divorce. What are the positives? You have freedom. What's freedom? Freedom to make your own decisions. And I've given you some pointers on how to help you in that regard. But most importantly, freedom is freedom of time. Time is considered a luxury in the 21st century. So you have to know how to use it. How do you use it properly? It is take time for your own development. Take time for your child. Become his friend. Do not lecture him, please, but be his friend. Jointly empathize with him and together with him start a new life. For example, your child went to school, started to learn spelling, and you learn it. Why? Because spelling is a small hand motor skill. And it increases the flexibility and agility of your thinking. See how? Rejoice in what your child is happy about, because joy opens up the emotions. It opens up the movement of energy. And that's very important. And lastly, I want to say, in any free time, read books, but not all in a row. The first book you should read is Theodore Dreiser's Sister Carrie, because he showed the consequences of divorce on the example of his own sister and how she came out of this state. This book will support you very much morally and intellectually. Professor's advice: I told you about divorce, about its negative sides, but now you know that there are positive sides to divorce. Take advantage of that. Your life goes on, and you have your whole life ahead of you.